folks who don't know me, I'm David Gulino, and I am the artistic director with Z.One Concept. And Z.One Concept is a parent company name that we manufacture products in Italy that are imported to the United States. And the two main products we import, product lines we import, are No Inhibition and Milkshake. So we're going to talk today about No Inhibition Multicolor, and we're also going to talk about a really very new and innovative product that's going to really change the face of the business. I've been doing this about 7 or 8 weeks now, and very rarely have we come across in the last 32 years something that really changed the face of the business, really changed what we were doing. Guns had been around when I got there, relaxers were around when I got there, color was around when I got there. Well, technology and color got better, and fantastic. Now we have colors that do everything. I remember when I first started doing color, we would lock ourselves in a dispensary. We had 47 notebooks. We would pull out every note known to man, and it was an eyedropper of this, and a cap full of that, and a dash of this, and then you'd paste like an expecting father for 45 minutes, hoping that the color worked, and that's the way it went. And then the numbering system came in. So you guys, a few of you are veterans in here, so you remember what I'm talking about, how it evolved. Well, when we talk about this product, and I'm not going to name it right now, but when we talk about it, you're going to see something completely different, something that you've never used before, something that's really a game changer in the industry. So Z.One Concept was founded by a guy named Ivano Panzeri. So this gentleman was the #1 distributor of an American hair care product imported into Italy, and he was the #1 distributor there and gained a really good reputation. And so when it came time to make his own product, he had access to great scientists, great people, and a fantastic distributor network. And so here we are today. In 1999 he founded the company. In 2015 we're here. We are the #1 domestic made product in Italy out of over 500 domestic made products. So in Italy, Italy is the most competitive cosmetic industry in the world. So there's 500 registered products in Italy, some of which the Italians don't even know, because there's so many of them, and some of them are made just for export. But 500 registered products, we're #1. And we've done that a number of years now. We're on track to again do it this year. We're #3 in the complete marketplace in Italy. So #1 is L'Oreal, and #2 is Wella. Both of those guys are over 100 years old, right? And multi-faceted conglomerates. Okay? And here we are, an individually owned and operated company. One man owns the company. You can probably get him on the phone if you speak Italian and you're nice to the receptionist. So, it's nice to know that there's somebody that's right there. And he comes to America quite often to visit the headquarters in America and such. So chances are you may see him someday on the show. He's a great guy. So what makes our product company a little different is that we're about making high fashion hair, but keeping it healthy. So what a concept, right? Sometimes we do things in the name of fashion that the hair is just ready to fall off, or don't breathe on it too hard because it just might disconnect from the scalp. So we make high fashion hair that's healthy. So let's talk about hair color in general. So hair color in general, what separates the men from the boys? There's two sides to a color tube. There's the cosmetic colorant, and then there's the cosmetic conditioning side of the tube. So if we break it down on the colorant side, we have an ammonia or some sort of an alkaline enhancer, whether you're using ammonia or monoethylamine, or some people use a stabilized alcohol, which there's no such thing as a stabilized alcohol. Anyway, we'll ask the scientists about that. But you use an alkaline enhancer. You use an aniline derivative tint. So whether it's paraphenylene, diamine, adenine, catamine, triamine, biamine, one of the paraphenylene brothers. And then you have some binders, and then you have some sort of a surfactant so that you can remove the actual color from the hair and from the scalp. Because color in general is kind of tacky. So now I'll do my phone thing. So I thought I already did that. Wow. Faux pas.
That's your wife.
I'm here now.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
So yeah, I have two phones, you know, one to use, one to lose.
Hey, Lisa.
But anyway, so color itself is actually tacky, so you have a surfactant in it to remove that from the hair. Then you have the cosmetic conditioning side, and that's really the different side. What makes the hair color different from another hair color is really the cosmetic conditioning side. So our color comes in a 3.4 ounce tube. What of this particular tube, in this tube, how much of that do you think is an actual colorant? So you got 3.4 ounces. What percentage do you think is actually the colorant?
1.5%.
Half?
Well, 1.5 ounces.
1.5 ounces,
If you're
so
saying
half of the
three-
tube?
Well, you said
Roughly.
3/4. Well, I'd say it'd be about 1/3 to 2/3.
1/3 to 2/3 is the actual colorant?
I would think, yeah.
What about you?
I'm just gonna go 1 point higher than something.
1.5.
I'd go lower to tell the truth.
Now half should be the colorant, right? You didn't say half the tube? That's all right. So in this 3.4 ounce tube, how much of this tube do you actually think is colored in percentage? It's 5%, 10%, 50%. They're saying roughly 50 to, 40 to 50%.
I said 33.
33%.
And it's 3 point what?
3.4 ounce tube.
I say 17.4.
Percent? Okay. Would it shock you to know that the actual amount of colorant in comparison to that tube is only 1% of the tube's actual colorant? Really? And that's all hair colorant.
Now,
It's
what
not
is
just
it?
all.
It's a pure pigment color.
The
pure
pigment that's in there,
Yeah.
only in 3.4 ounces, only 1% of that 3.4 ounces is actual colorant.
What's an average?
1%.
So the rest is ammonia and
No, I'm saying for
oxide?
other color lines.
The
I think
the
it's
rest
all
are
of
the
it.
components.
Oh, really?
He says all of them.
All of them.
Oh, okay, I got you, sorry.
But 1% is the actual pigment. So how do you make your pigment better? Or how do you make the color better? You use the highest quality pigments you can get. Now there's this wonderful fable out there that talks about Italian pigmentation, and German pigmentation, and this is French pigmentation, and that pigmentation, okay. So there's two countries in the world that produce the most pigments, India and China. They produce the world's pigments. Then the respective countries buy them, and then they refine them. Well, the refinement process in Italy happens to be very, very high quality. That's why somebody started the fable of Italian pigmentation years ago. So it made it a little bit more prestigious. So in Italy, there's a number of companies that actually refine the pigmentation, and then they sell it to you, and you and your chemical company get together and put it together and make a color out of it. But know that the old base root of your colors all started in China or India somewhere, and then they were refined. So this is the point where this is on the internet, and this is when David gets in trouble because he's telling the truth. Yeah, so there'll probably be a hit on me by the time I get back to St. Petersburg.
This is going live.
Shoot me, But anyway, so 1% of the tube is actual pigment. So we use very, very high quality, very, very stable pigmentation, and as pure as we can get it. The reason for that is we want that color to be intermixable. Have you ever used a color where you went to mix 3 colors together and it turned to mud? And you said, but they're in the same family? It's 3 reds, why did it turn to mud? Those 3 blondes, why did it turn to mud? You would think that if you mixed a red with a complementary color of an ash, it would mud out, right? That would be normal. But why when you mix 3 of the same pigment together, it's all in the red family, did it mud out? It's got to do with the quality of pigmentation and the formulation of the base. The formulation of the base doesn't allow you to have artistic freedom. The artistic freedom is taken away from you because everybody's worried about gray coverage. If you know how to color hair, you know how to cover gray hair. And this is our issue, this is our plight. So we made a color that's really, really high fashion, but it also colors gray really easy. and it doesn't mud out. When we train the educators, I take literally everything from our copper series, which is right here, our red series, and our copper series, and we put those together. It's about 11 different pigments. Put 5 grams of each one of those pigments in the bowl, mix it up, put it on a mannequin. I've done it on a human, and it comes out as a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful red. Okay? Because it's intermixable. You have 96 shades that are intermixable.
Okay.
Right. We have 3 series that will cover gray. We have our natural series, we have our double natural series, and we have our natural gold series. Okay. This color is on a 50% gray swatch. This color is on a 100% gray swatch, and this is on a 50% gray swatch. And then the rest of the fashion tones are put on a white swatch, just so you can see the pure fashion color of it. With your gray coverage, if you're doing hair, this is designed to cover 100% gray hair, but strongly cover 75% gray hair, which is your standard natural series. Is only ever really designed to cover 75% gray. Why? Because nobody really has 100% gray hair. White hair isn't white.
Got 10% still.
White, it's still got color in there. Exactly. So if you wanted to color, let's say a level 6, and it was 100%, well, we would consider as 100% gray hair, you would use a level 5 in my natural series. You would
Okay.
do the same exact thing if you were using our natural gold series. But we made it really easy for those people who don't want to do that, and we put a double natural series together. So if you wanted a 6 and it was 100% gray hair, just use a 600, and it comes out as a 6. Easy? To wit, if you use the double natural series on anything under 75% gray hair, it may come out slightly denser than you want it to come out. So if you put this on 50% gray hair, it may come out looking a level darker because it's got twice the amount of color pigmentation in it. Does that make sense to you?
Perfect sense.
Okay. So, I mean, all the time I get well, they have really difficult to cover gray hair on the sides. Okay, well, usually, sideburn hair is a little bit more difficult to cover than other hair because it's a little bristly, things like that. So they use a double series, but they put the double series all over the whole head. And they go, and this looks great, but this comes out like ink. Yeah, because they only had 10% gray hair up here, and they had 75 or 80% right here in the sideburn. So in those cases, that's a 2-formula system. You want a level 6, you put your level 600 here, 6.00 here, and you put your 6 here, and you might have to counterbalance underlying pigment. So hair color, I mean, I know we've been doing it for a long time, but I always like to include the basics in every class I teach. Hair color is very, very simple. Where am I starting? Where am I going? Who's not invited to the party when I get there? It's a very simple scenario. If you understand the 10 levels, the primary colors, and the underlying pigment chart, you can control any hair color you use. It's the underlying pigment chart that messes with people and how to counterbalance what's going on there. So for very simple terms, your even numbers, 4, 6, and 8, everything above 4 starts to show underlying pigment. 4, 6, 8, and 10, there's 2 names in the underlying pigment. So you'll have red-orange, you have yellow-orange, and you have pale yellow, which they put it in there just because it was a 10. It's a pale yellow, okay? To control that, you need to use its complement. So if there's 2 names in there, you use the complement. It's actually 2 names in your complementary color. So blue-violet, or blue-green, or ultraviolet for pale yellow, okay? It's really easy on 5, 7, and 9 because you have red, orange, and yellow. So we know yellow is violet, orange is blue, and your red is green. And those are your counterbalancing. So our ash series, which is our 0.1 series, is calibrated. So although they say we're based on the blue chart, you'll see more that my level 4 My underlying pigment would be red violet. Okay, it's kind of a greenish, it's like a yellowy green color is the actual pigment in here. And a little bit of a kind of a kicker, a little bit of actual blue. My 5.1 series, to counterbalance the red, is a little bit more of a green over a blue. So basically there's smoke. Then it's like a blue-green base. Even though, again, it's based on the blue side of the chart, the blue period of the chart, it'll have a little bit of green in it, it'll have a little bit of violet in it. So it's calibrated as you go up. So if you said, well, I'm doing a 5 and I want to counterbalance my underlying pigment, I'll use a 7.1. That's not going to work. Because your counterbalancing pigmentation, your 7.1, is not going to work on a level 5. It's too light and it's the wrong underlying pigment. It's the wrong complement to the underlying pigment in the 5. So we calibrate it, it makes it simple.
You're saying that level 7 is gonna be more of a blue base?
It's going to be a blue base, yeah. Where your level 6 is going to be a little bit more of a blue-green base. Again, blue or
Right.
blue-green. And your level 8, because it's a yellow-orange,
Violet.
it's going to be more blue-violet. So softer blue with a little bit of violet additive. Okay? So,
Not more violet, just a little bit of blue?
no, because that's 9. 9 is yellow.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, yeah, but 8 is orange, yellow.
Is
Pale, yeah, but more yellow, right?
what they call it, oh, it's yellow-orange. So it would be violet with some blue in it, yeah.
Yeah,
So now we have our other series, our .31, our .3, our 3.3s, our .4s, our .34s. A lot of numbers here, right? Our .5s, our .6, our .7. Those are all designed, they're fashion shades, and they'll cover up to 30% on their own. Anything over 30%, you then have to start mixing in your complementary neutral, okay, to fill in. So if you had 70% gray hair, and you know that this covers up 30%, you only then have to basically counterbalance with a 50% additive of my natural series at level. So if I wanted 7.6, I would add 50% of that formulation would be 7 over here to cover the gray, but I would still have a fashion tone. That's where people have a hard time. They want a fashion tone, but the client has a lot of gray hair. They're afraid it's going to come out Bozo the Clown, or Clarabelle the Clown, or it's going to come out violet, looking like, they want to be the Osborne kid, but they're 60 years old, right?
They're out there.
So a lot of those.
So you're
are
saying,
fine,
so you're saying with the fashion shade, it only covers up to 30%, so you're
It's
saying
designed to cover
use
up to
30% of that, and then the rest 70% to make 100, or only 50%?
It'll make 100% if you use 30 and 70.
What was
Okay.
50 for, you were saying though?
If it was 70% gray hair.
Oh, so, okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
And then I would still have more than enough neutral.
Right.
So, and to be real honest with you, personal experience, this covers more than 30% gray. And it's a very good, strong, rich, vibrant fashion tone. So if you want a fashion tone on somebody with gray hair that's really strong and rich, cut down how much neutral, and you're going to get more of your pigmentation. Guys, a hair color is made just like a car. Okay? Chevrolet builds a car for a 5'10" male with a 34-inch sleeve length and a 34-inch inseam. When they sit with the seat rails exactly in the middle, they're in a perfect driving position. It's the same size as a crash test dummy, right? 5'10", 180 pounds, 34, 34. Perfect in the middle, perfect driving position. How tall are you?
5'3".
What are you going to do to that seat? You move it forward, right?
Right.
How tall are you? Well, let's have...
5'10".
You're 5'10", you're perfect height. How about you? Short.
6'5".
Yeah, what do you got to do? You move that seat back, don't you?
Have a car built.
Okay, well, yeah, right? But take the seat out, sit in the back,